Greetings and welcome to Stunthangar Video Hangouts. My name is Charles Carter and I'll be your host this evening. I want to extend to you my gratitude for you watching Stunthangar Video Hangouts. If you are watching this as a replay, I want you to know that I host these YouTube live streams every Monday and Friday evening starting at 6:45 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So please make a note of this so you can watch or be part of the live stream. Plus, we have an after party following the live stream, which is sometimes better than the live stream portion. You must be a registered Stunthangar forum to find the link to be part of the live stream and the following after party. Here at Stunthangar Video Hangouts, we talk about building and flying model airplanes, sport flying, competition flying, and what you've been doing lately. To join our conversation, if you are already a member of Stunthangar Forum, you can find the link. You can scroll down to the section called At the Bench. If you're not a member or not logged into Stunthangar Forum, the At the Bench link will not appear. If you're not a member, please register at stunthangar.com/SMF. That's stunthangar.com/SMF. That's Smart Men Flying, courtesy of Jeff Riley. You must place a space between your real first and last name when you register. You must also use a valid email address or Sparky. The proprietor of Stunthangar will not approve you. If you're inclined to not come in, just enjoy watching us on YouTube, wonderful, fantastic. Please enter your questions or comments in the chat box, and I'll do my best to make your comments a part of the show. And I understand sometimes I can't get a word in myself, so be patient, and I will ask our illustrious panel your question or state your comments. And by the way, you only can make your comments or questions during a live stream. So like I said, I host these YouTube live streams every Monday and Friday evening starting at 6:45 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. If you find the Stunthangar Video Hangouts that I host or the many building videos, Saturday at John's, contest coverage that Sparky does on this platform, informative and enjoyable, please hit the thumbs up and give us a thumbs up and a thumbs up. Subscribe and share the videos. Comments also help the Stunthangar YouTube channel grow. Please consider, joining our Stunthangar YouTube channel memberships will start at just $4.99 a month, which is less than 17 cents a day. And by the way, I'm a member. I have the $4.99 come out of my checking account, and I don't miss it. And I suspect you won't miss it either. You can also use this super chat over here, and you can donate any amount you want. And you only can do that during a live stream. So like I said, I host these shows every Monday and Friday evening at 6:45 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Now, your support helps offset some of the expenses of running Stunthangar. And with your support and with your memberships, you'll get special badges that Sparky and I can see in the YouTube chat box, special stickers, and unlimited replay of member-only videos. And once a month, Sparky has a question and answer show for members only. This is Sparky's YouTube channel. I'm only in here twice a week. If you want to get in touch with me, go to my YouTube channel at Flying Control Line Stunt. That's Flying Control Line Stunt, and place a comment or question on the 2019 AMA National Championship video, which Sparky shot with his video camera of me flying his Junar XL. And I will receive a notification and be able to respond to you quickly, because I don't check Sparky's comments. I don't go in there. I just host the show. So if you want to get in touch with me, that's the best way. Now, I want to thank you for your past, your present, and future support. You are making it happen. Please keep the conversations family room friendly. In other words, please don't use words or do things you wouldn't say or do around your own children or grandchildren. And without any further ado, I'm going to post the link now at stunthangar.com. Stunthangar.com/SMF. I said that wrong. So here I am going to, let's see here. Here we go. Post right now. All right. So it's posted, and hopefully we'll have some people come in and we will have a great show. Let me see here. I got to go do another thing here. Let me go to Sparky's YouTube channel, and let's go to the what I call the control panel. My internet is lagging. I might need to kick some teenagers off. Let's see. I'll remind them at least they only can have one device on at a time. I think they might just have their phone and their computer and their iPad on all at the same time. And I have 3 teenagers. So let's see here. Looks like there's no one in the chat at the moment. And there's no one in here with me yet. So let me just do a little house cleaning here while I'm waiting. Hope everyone had a good weekend. My friend Joe Maude and I, we had a road trip extraordinaire. We went to the Palmer Memorial Combination Joust, hosted by the Knights of the Round Circle. And boy, what an amazing weekend. Saturday was profile, old time stunt, and classic. Saw some beauty. There's nothing like classic planes, I tell you. I mean, I like the Pampa events, but the classic planes are so elegant. You might not know what I'm talking about. We have, but in stunt we have different categories. And hey, Gary, how are you doing?
Good.
How was your weekend?
Yeah. All right, I think. Can't complain.
Cool. I didn't get a chance to watch the coverage that Sparky did of the Fellowship of Christian Modelers event that Dennis Adamison hosted. Did you get a chance to watch that?
Yeah, FCMC or something.
Yeah, FCM. Yeah, that stands
Yeah,
for Fellowship of Christian Modelers.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I watched it.
What'd you think?
Yeah. Good.
I
Yeah.
haven't watched the whole thing. I just saw
Where was that held at?
at Muncie on
Muncie,
the same
okay.
site
I
as
thought that
the
might be.
same site as the Nationals. Hey, Mark, thank you for coming in.
Hey, Charles.
Hi, Mark.
Hey,
How
Gary.
you doing, Mark?
Good, good.
All right. So did you watch? I was just asking Gary if he saw the coverage that Sparky did of the FCM contest.
No, I didn't see that. Is it on his website?
Yeah, it's on the YouTube channel, the Stunthangar YouTube channel. It's there. And looks like we have Tryon making a connection, and Keith Trossel is making his way in here as well.
Hi,
Hey,
Charles.
Keith,
Hi,
how you doing,
Keith.
Keith?
Hey, doing good.
All right.
We don't have a full house yet, huh?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Well, thank you for coming in, Keith. I
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Hey,
And
Charles.
waiting for Tryon to come in. He's making a connection, but he's not complete.
Okay, Charles,
Yeah.
did you get those? I sent you 3 pictures this afternoon.
Yes, I did get them.
I haven't been able to figure out how to show those. Can you show those on the screen?
Yeah, I can. I can do
Okay,
that.
when we get to that, can you do that?
Yes, I sure can.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, Tryon, welcome to the show.
Yeah.
Hey
Long
guys.
time no. All right.
Welcome back on American soil.
Yeah.
Fun.
For those who
Fun.
don't know, this gentleman here, Tryon, he went to the World Championships representing his homeland, where he's from originally, and that was he was flying for Romania. And Jeff Riley's in the chat. He says, "Hi, Charles. Good seeing you and Joe yesterday." Yes, Jeff. That was fabulous meeting you there and having some time to fellowship, and that was great. And he said he pushed the like button. Thank you very much, Jeff. If you can hang out there, but you're the only one there until we get some more traffic, or come on in, it'll be even better. But now we have Stuart making his way in here.
Charles.
Hey, Stuart, how you doing?
Good.
Very good. Very good. So Well, I'm going to tell you real quick. I just came, Joe Mott and I came back from the Palmer Memorial Combination / Joust at Whittier and Arrows. And Tryan's familiar with Whittier and Arrows, and so is Keith. Mark, have you ever flown at Whittier and Arrows?
You're asking me?
Yes.
No.
Okay. I mean, I saw you at Las Vegas, so I was just wondering if you ever made it down south to.
Well, I've actually got a T-Bird that I built and took to VSC in 2002, and Bob Palmer signed it.
Oh, nice.
And I think it would be really cool to take it down there and fly it at the Palmer, but it's about 1,000-mile drive.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot of miles. I understand. Yeah, so I was just curious because I know Keith and Tryon had been there before, and but it was quite an event. Had a great time. I'll talk a little bit more about it when we get a little bit more people in here.
Are they still giving that Palmer Trophy away? Or
Yes,
Yeah.
and I'm trying to remember who won that. I know Dennis Nunes came close, but I think he was beaten by Bart Kaplinski.
okay,
Yeah. So it was the people that are in the running for that was Anton, which I know you know him,
yes.
and Dennis Nunes. Also, well, so there's another person in contention. Forgive me for not remembering.
John Wright might be.
Maybe John Wright, yeah, because John Wright competed in maybe more than 3 events. So the Palmer is a perpetual trophy, and it's based on participation in several events. At least, I mean, I think a maximum of 3 events. You can be in any event, but they'll choose maybe your 3 highest scores. What I mean by score is if you get first, you get awarded so many points for that. If you get second, you get so many points for that, and third, and so forth. So they tally up all those points, and the one with the highest points gets the perpetual Bob Palmer trophy, which is a nice, beautiful trophy.
Yeah, it's got a model of the Thunderbird on it.
Yeah,
And Dale Kern built that model.
yeah, it's a very pretty trophy. I only competed in 1 event, so my total would never make it, but just on 1 event. You have to do 3, I believe. Or they'll count 3. You can do more, but they only count your top 3. So it looks like we have 13 viewers right now and 6 likes. So please hit the like button. If you have not hit the like button, please do that. Please also consider joining our Stunthangar YouTube channel. It's a membership of minimum of $4.99 a month. And then there's also the super chat, which is not a subscription. You just donate, and that's below the chat box over here. And is a big $sign. Click on that, and then please donate. Please support. Hopefully, this is your passion, like many of us, and your hobby or sport. If you are into competing, I consider it a sport just like anything else. It takes a lot of dedication and practice, skill to win. And then there's those who just like the hobby and don't want to compete. But it's hopefully you're at one of those 2 camps and you want to support it. I tell people that we need to support it because this might go away like the 8-track tape player.
Mhm.
For those of you old enough to remember 8-track tape players, everything gets replaced. So please support it.
It's like all of us, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we're like an elderly statesman at the hobbies. I'm one of the younger people out there, and I'm 64. I actually probably trying. You're probably one of the younger ones at some of the big events, right?
Oh yeah, I'm the baby here.
Yeah.
I'm definitely the baby here.
So trying. You got back earlier last week. You was just too tired to come in. Is that right? From
Yeah.
the Worlds. Very,
Yeah, I
very
came
good.
in Sunday night at about 8 o'clock. Monday morning at 3 o'clock, I woke up to go to work.
Yeah, rough.
Yeah, it's rough,
That
man.
is
It's
rough.
rough.
That is absolutely rough. Looks like James McKinney. Excuse me. Looks like James McKinney is making his way in here. So we're up to 7 of us. I'll just wait till we at least get to 10 or 11. Maybe I know our last show we trended around 12 people, and we've been averaging about 12 people, and then sometimes it balloons up to 20. Yes, Keith.
I was going to ask, hey, Tryon, I've not met you, but it's good to meet you here. You're at the World Championships, right?
Yes.
And there was a biplane there that was flown during the World Cup by one of the top
Yes.
flyers. Did you see that airplane?
Yes, I saw it.
And did you see it fly?
Yeah, it flew pretty good.
And he was third, I think, at the World Cup with that airplane. So it must be pretty good.
Yeah, it was a very good plane. Yeah, we flew well.
Was
Who's
it
the
particularly-
biplane from? You know who the pilot was?
He's from Czechoslovakia, I think, wasn't he?
I don't know. I think he was second in a world championship.
Yeah, he was second with a different airplane at the World.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it a particularly big airplane or narrow chord or?
No, it was about normal size. Actually, even smaller than normal size.
But the total wing would be about the same, you think?
No, it's overall it was more compact plane, I think.
Okay. It was
Yeah.
interesting to see that an airplane like that competed at that level and did well, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, just worth of a few new planes over there. But far in between, it's like it seems like the judges, if they don't see a shark or one of those boat plays or a what do you call that? Max B. I mean, they
Yeah,
almost,
Igor's airplane.
yeah. Let's put this way: the judging was just I cannot make any sense of it. I try to, but I cannot.
That's normally the case, I think.
No, but in this case, it's just much more than the case, right?
Yeah. Yeah. You
I
almost
took
wonder-
just for example, it's like you usually expect some judge to score a certain percentage higher over the other judge, and another judge to, you see some step downs between them, right?
Yes.
And
but
they're
be
pretty
consistent.
yeah, but the distance is consistent between them, right?
Right.
You would expect that, right? But when you
Right.
see swings from one judge judging like 6% higher than the other one to 25% lower than the other one,
Yeah. Yeah.
and with a swing of more than 30% overall from one end to the other one, you start to throw your hands up in the air. It goes like, what's going on here?
Well, that's gone on before. In fact, there's a way that judges can be evaluated, and there was some work done. Well, this goes back maybe 15, 20 years.
Mhm.
The FAI officialdom contacted a guy here in the States. His name is George Buffalano,
Mhm.
and he has a way to evaluate judges, not only for control line model airplane aerobatics, but full scale aerobatics as well. And he can back out where obvious bias is apparent. And
I mean,
based on his work for the FBI, several individuals that had been judges before are barred from ever becoming a judge again. But that was some years ago. But that stuff still goes on, and it's so frustrating.
it still goes on. I don't see that it helps any with
It
it.
just gets rid of some of the really
Yeah.
bad ones. That's all.
Well, even Orestes said that something like his first flight was pretty darn good. The second was better, and the third was even better. He was improving on every flight, and he had the same scores all over overall, the same. They never change.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But I'll give you another example. On my first flight, judge number 2 gave me 1,058 points, something like that. Judge number 2 on the same circle for Orestes gave him 1,068 points. Well, on Orestes' case, the other two judges were over 1,100. On my case, the other two judges were 900 something and 888.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at the scores.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense. And then I that kind of opened up my eyes, and so I pull up all the scores for everybody that was on Circle A in day one, and I look at all the scores, and I did in an Excel spreadsheet in which I calculate the percentage between judges, just out of curiosity, right? So then I look at and they vary from one judge will score over the other judge like as much as 6% over the second judge score between 1 and 2. I just compare 1 and 2, and so it was from plus 6% to minus 25% compared to judge 2, right? So it's a swing of 31% in scores overall just between those two judges.
Yeah.
And now we'll look between 1 and 3, right? The same thing, the same calculations, and it was a swing about the same. And then between 2 and 3 was even worse, about 35% difference between them. And I'm looking like, how can this be possible? You know, on my scores personally, they had as much as 3 points between the two judges. One will give me a 9, the other one a 6 on a score.
Yeah.
Looking at the same flight, I was like, what's going on here? You know, so you know, that being said, you know, that was the sour. You know,
I can appreciate your frustration,
yeah.
and you had it firsthand. I've seen it. I've been over there several times with the team, and when we were in Poland, that was 7 years ago, I think. Yeah.
Mhm.
And Orestes made the top 15, of course, and I was watching the top 5 during the finals.
Mhm.
And I know I have biases too, but I'm still a pretty good judge of when one flight looks a little bit better than another overall. And I was watching Orestes very closely on his final 3 flights. The judges progressively he was flying better each flight, and the judges progressively were scoring him lower. And it's so frustrating. And I'm,
Exactly.
I can feel your frustration, because it was so frustrating for me to watch them do that to Orestes, because he didn't deserve what he got over there. That just is just mind blowing to me.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you, and it's popularity contest more than anything else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And name judges. I sometimes don't think that they really know the pattern that well. They're going by the name, and maybe by nationality as well. Who knows?
Man, now, you know, I'm not trying to pull a race card or something like that
I
here,
know.
right? But I know Romanians, and particular Romanian gypsies, are raising havoc around Europe. So the stuff they do over there, you know, I can't even talk about it because it's pretty bad, right? So, but you know, I'm not sure if that played a role. Maybe another thing played a role, that you know, live in America for the Romanian team. I'm kind of there because I couldn't make the American team, so you know, let's screw this guy up, and who cares for him, right?
Sure.
That can be something else. You know, that's I know I didn't fly to my absolute best because the plane was fairly new in my hands, and with 30-40 flights on a plane, you don't even have time to know the plane or put in a good trim conditions to begin with. And the more I was flying it over there, the more I came to realize that I needed more inside corner than the outside corner. So, and you could tell my inside maneuvers, I had a hard time. I was just putting into size and stuff like that. Outside was super easy. I ended up biasing the handle because you know, Orestes told me to bias the handle because if it's not turning equally, it's at the handle. So I did that, and it was a vast improvement, but it was still not balanced. So
let me interrupt, trying this for a second. I'm just falling behind. Let me welcome. This might be out of order. There's so many people who came in. I appreciate it, but thank you, Lynn Burrell, for coming in. Brad Lapointe, it's been too long since you've been in, but thank you for coming in. Appreciate it. And Dennis Adamison, thank you for coming in. And Philip Bailey, thank you for coming in. And Joe Gilbert, thank you for coming in, Joe. I appreciate it. Bob Gore, thank you for coming in. And James McKinney, thank you for coming in. Appreciate it, you guys. So now we have like 13 in here, and we are blowing and going. If you just came in, Tryon is just talking about his experience at the World Championship, and
Yeah.
we've all experienced, judges. I've experienced it too. I remember one judge that I felt torpedoed me at the state championship. It was like a 100-point differential, and I didn't understand it. So it happens. It's frustrating. It's part of us
Yeah.
flying in a very subjective sport, and
Yeah.
it doesn't justify it, but it's just so frustrating when it happens to you. It looks like Mark
Yeah.
Wise is making his way in here, and anybody do any flying? I went to a contest called the Bob Palmer Memorial / Joust, and I had a fantastic time. I took my flying buddy Joe Mata there, and he had a blast. We actually saw a demonstration of a monoline plane that was really interesting. I've heard of them, but I've never seen one fly, and saw some beautiful planes on Saturday. I started the show talking about how I love the classic planes because they're so elegant compared to the super stunners and all the things we have. And there are exceptions. There are some beautiful Pampa stunners as well, but there's some beautiful classic planes out there. And then Sunday, competed in advance. I took second, and thanks in part to Dennis Adamison and Steve Hines and Eric Rule and other people, Steve Harris. I've gotten a lot of help from a lot of people, and so I appreciate that. I'm looking forward to competing again in Las Vegas, and hopefully I'll have a better turnout. But I'm happy with second because there are some deficiencies in the plane, and I'm going to fix them. But anybody else do any flying? Excuse me, and I know Dennis Adamison. You know what, Dennis? We have 13 people. If you want to talk about the Fellowship of Christian Modelers event, we have a
Well,
pretty
that's
good
it.
crowd.
I wasn't flying, but I was CDing. The reason I was CDing is that the normal CD, Alan Goff, was having knee replacement surgery. And that actually went off today. And by all reports, he's in post-op and doing well and everything like that. So of course, we're all grateful for that. But Alan, found out when his surgery was going to be happening. He was scheduled in the summer, and it was found out it was going to be the day after the contest. And he knew he had to be in isolation and stuff like that prior to surgery. So he had canceled the contest. And I had called him up and said, Al, there's a lot of people. It's a big contest. We need to be able to keep running that. And he thought about it, and he called me back the next day. He says, okay. He says, I turned on the T-shirts. I turned them back on. I got the AMA back on the phone, reserved the fields. Let's go do it. And so I CD'd in Alan's place, which was a lot of fun. Going into the week, contest week, we had the most consistently rotten weather forecast. I think every single day for like a week out, it was like, 70, 80% chance of rain on Sunday, and it just never got any better. Midnight the night before, I checked it one last time, and it was like rain from 5 a.m. until 8 p.m. Chance of lightning, between 20 and 50% all day long and everything like that. So we get to the contest. I'm sure that held down our entry, but we get to the contest and no rain. Clouds were barely dragging over the ground, but there was no rain. And we had 15 entries show up in spite of the forecast and everything like that. And in our pilots meeting, I said, hey, we're going to go as fast as we can to take advantage of this weather that we have. And I hope, if we get any delays, we'll figure it out as we go and stuff like that. And everybody was on board with that, and everybody tried hard. We ended up flying everybody off in just about a little under 3 hours, and everybody's just banging them out. And so we had a real good meet. FCM, Alan started something last year, and we continued it again. In the expert class, after the first round, we selected the top 3 placings in expert, and then those 3 were separated into a standalone master's class for the final round. All right, so The remaining experts, they got their second round flight and everything. And of course, the masters got their second round flight, but it was like, I guess the closest thing you could compare it to would be something like NASCAR with their chase and all that kind of stuff, where they run a certain thing and then the final races, determine their final placings and stuff like that. I guess it's kind of analogous to that. So Mike McHenry ended up winning the Masters class with Kenny Stevens right behind him, and Scott Reynolds from Dayton in third. John Paris ended up winning the expert class with my bad memory in second and third place. Let's see, Larry Fruits won the advanced class with Don Main and Matt Brown from Indianapolis right behind him. So everybody had a good time though, and we had a little raffle afterwards, a prize raffle. All entries get a free T-shirt and everything like that. So that's good. That's why you always see some of the FCM T-shirts and people in the meetings and stuff. And then they're already making plans for next year. It will be what they call a Jubilee contest, and that means it's going to be a free entry. And he's going to have they're going to strive to make it a 3-day weekend next time, and do what we can to bring the entry up even better. It should be the biggest FCM contest ever. It's just biggest and best yet. But all in all, we persevered through some bad weather, and put it in perspective. We got through the contest, the awards, even grabbed some lunch and headed home. When I got on the road to head home, it started raining. So we were just right on time, So
good. Sounds
yeah,
good.
so it was one of those days. I was scared to death that we were looking at, Nats Open all over again with delays and and bad feelings and everything like that. But we got through. Everything went well. So just tickled to death at the way it all turned out. So at any rate, that's an awful long talk for somebody who didn't actually fly, isn't it?
No, not really.
I'm sorry about that.
No, it's good. No, that was good.
Yeah.
Did Joe, was you there, Joe? Joe Gilbert? Was you there at the FCM?
I flew the last 7 days, 6 days out of 8, though. I've been flying a lot.
Oh, good.
It's been below 95. We've been flying every day.
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
that's fantastic. So which planes did you fly?
Oh, a profile Wildcat and a smoothie mostly. And the Chipmunk today, a real one. But yeah,
All right.
a real one today.
I understand.
That thing must really pull. Oh,
Done.
How long are the lines on that?
Quarter mile.
Quarter
yeah.
mile.
Let me welcome Mark Lumen. I see him in his pilot's uniform. That's great. And I think James McKinley might be flying himself. That's why I maybe might have the video off. And welcome, John Miller. I'm glad that you're feeling better and you're here. And Mark Wise, thank you for being here. I appreciate it.
Yeah, a little
No
note
problem.
there between James and Mark, we have the presidents of the two largest control line organizations, SIGs, on board here in the hangar. So, or here in the hangout, whatever we want to call it. So
Yeah, thank you guys for supporting us. That's
it.
speaks
That's it.
Volumes to have the head of Pampa and the head of Maca, is it?
Maca, no.
Maca. And in the
Yeah.
chat box, let me catch up in the chat box. Dennis had missing you, said hello. And then Jack Snavely says hello all around the world, just saying hi, flyers and all. He has these airplane stickers and he has the globe. Thank you, Jack. Appreciate it. Then Mark Lumen, he's here now, but he said, got you liked. Just landed from a flight. We'll sign in a bit. Thank you, man. VIP flying in. Thank you, Mark. Appreciate that, Mark Lumen.
Hey,
And
he's
then
still wearing his uniform.
Mike Lonke, he says, hey, Charles, congrats on your finish at Whittier. Sam and I flew a bunch of matches yesterday. I'm just watching you on YouTube from bed tonight. Woke up with the crud this morning, so no shop work
Yeah.
tonight. And then Jack Snavely says, everyone thinks it's hotter than ever, but in the mid-1980s, let me see, here in Kansas, it was way hotter, 105 to 110 every day for over a month.
Holy.
So yeah, sometimes we just need to have a reset on what hot is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys want to
Hey,
see
Charles?
one of my flights from the Worlds?
Yeah, hang on one second. Who is calling me besides Tryon? I heard someone. Was it you, Mark?
Yeah, just some point I'd like to tell the group about a couple of updates.
Okay. Okay, Tryon, so you have a video of you flying at the Worlds?
Yes.
At the Worlds. Wow.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
have one.
Let me set this thing up. I think yeah, I mean, make sure it's set up for you. All right, go ahead. It's set up.
You see it?
Not yet. I gotta push some buttons for me to see it.
Joe
Yeah, I
does.
see it.
You
I
guys
got
see
it.
it?
I see it. Yeah, I'm set up now. Yeah. Let her rip.
I just hit play.
Looks like a nice kind of overcast day.
Yeah, the weather was pretty nice. I'm gonna fast
Yes.
forward to.
See this white Delta wing airplane flying out there.
No, I don't see what you're talking about.
I think that's a tent. I think
I'm making trying to make a joke about the pointer, the arrowhead.
Yeah, I thought it was I thought you were talking polar bear in a snowstorm there. I thought you saw something in the clouds, but
so there you are. I see you now.
Oh,
Yeah.
something went by. How'd they like you playing there, Tran?
Oh, it was so well received over there. It was amazing. Like everybody's like, finally we see something different other than the two major planes that were over there, which like basically Axiomas, the Sharks, and and what do you call that? Yeah. The Max Bs. Yeah.
Yeah, I was trying to tell you Max B, but I had it muted.
Yeah. So this was my last flight over there. The fourth official qualifier, right? And after I did the wing over and I knew I messed it up, I said, nah, I don't have any chances, so I was kind of having fun at this point. It's the only flight that I recorded, so that's but actually other than the wing over, I think the rest of the flight went pretty good. Because I didn't have too many mistakes after that.
Looks like just fair breezes, huh?
Yeah, and some days we had like a stiff breeze, and sometimes just very light wind, and then followed by gusts and whatever.
The wind shock on the right showing about, looks like 4 to 5 knots. Pretty light.
Yeah.
Less at sometimes.
Yeah.
Try on.
The outside loops look pretty good, so I had a hard time with the inside maneuvers because the plane was not turning as good as on the outside. So, but but I tell you something, once you start with those flying with those targets over there, you come to realize how much smaller the maneuvers need to be. When I was flying small, actually I was flying the right size before.
Try on.
Yeah.
Try on. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. When you're flying level laps upright and inverted, is one way more stable than the other?
Kind of the same.
Okay.
Yeah. I was just kind of flying around the problems, but the flight is pretty, pretty good, overall, I think.
It is.
I mean, just intersections are good, the rounds are rounds, stuff like that. It's not a bad flight,
You're using that little yellow thing there for your center, aren't you?
I didn't even realize that it was there until after the flight.
Oh yeah.
So looking at the middle between those two targets. Should have used it. Yeah. And the plane flew very nice. I mean, just like, you know, right now I want to make a couple of changes, put a little bit more offset, make a new handle, a little bit wider spacing. I want to get a little bit more corner out of it. Even though if you look here,
You got a lot of corner.
yeah,
The inside corner is better than the outside, in my opinion. Do you see that, Tryon? Does anybody else see that?
I was
I'll look.
focusing the inside more than the outside. Outside is very little, you know, the inside you have to
Yeah.
really go for it.
Joe, I thought I saw that too, someplace, but, yeah.
Typically, what that
But he,
happens,
but I think he was consciously working on, making the insides harder because he had been fighting apparently, the opposite.
what
so-
I see on the way the airplane's flying, the flaps are reflexed down in level flight. And if that's the way it is, the inside turn will dig and turn, and the outside will slide, and you will
Mhm.
have inverted laps, not as stable as upright.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Check that out.
That's about what it looks like it was doing.
What I see is doing the flaps are reflexed down.
They're actually 0-0 when they're set up in a
Don't know
plane.
what they are, move them and try it again.
Yeah, I tried to bias them like them. I think I did.
Doing
The
the
biggest
handle
change-
is wrong.
The biggest change I had is at the handle. And
If the
Oresti said my plane is in perfect trim. As he said, like you just need a if it's not turning equally, it's at the handle. And I agree with him because I ended up putting this guy in there. See, it's kind of long on the bottom
Yeah.
Mhm.
and still wasn't enough. So,
Wow.
and you know, but I was flying with this bias the whole time, and as I was becoming more and more aware of it, and then I came to realize, like, hey, you know, maybe I need more flights, more trim tests, more you know, flying and stuff like that, getting used to the stuff and so on and so
Nice
forth.
flight. Nice flight.
Yeah, I mean, so other than the wing over, the rest of the flight looked pretty darn good, I think. But yeah,
Get
all
a
it
load of
takes
how
is-
far that thing glides though.
Well, that's
I
a
mean,
rule.
how many of you have an airplane that'll glide a lap and a half?
Mine will.
Well, that's a
No.
rule
Wow.
over there. You have to go a full lap
Yeah.
from 4 feet.
Yeah, I was still learning those long landings too, because I have to be like this with the handle in front of me, just pull it just ever so slightly, not much, just a little bit, you
Yeah.
know, give it just a little tiny bit of an oomph to it. So, yeah,
It's the rule over there. When you get 5 feet, then it's one lap later that it touches
Yeah.
down.
Right.
and
Wow. One
and I
lap from
had
5 feet.
by the
Wow.
way, the Chinese junior that was at the Worlds in a overall scores in P5, right? He flew my plane. He said there was one complaint he had about it, like he didn't like the shape of the fuselage.
He was a nice kid, wasn't he?
Yeah, he liked his Max B, you know, but you know, it's like,
But he was a nice young man when I was around him.
yeah, he's very nice. He's a very nice young,
Dad were nice people too.
yeah. I have a little video of him flying my plane, just saying hello to it, right? And yeah, he really liked it. But yeah,
Very, very good.
yeah. So yeah, I wanted to gain a little bit more corner, have it turn a little bit faster, and I need to do that with the handle, and also I want to make a new handle with the Kevlar lead out, so I leave the lines connected to the handle. I really didn't like the fact that I have to take the lines off the plane and the handle all the time, because yeah. Anyways, Charles, thank you for the lines. Really appreciate
Oh,
it.
you're
Mark
welcome,
Lumen,
man.
same.
I so glad I could at least contribute to you going.
Yeah,
And I couldn't
Mark
do it
McKinney.
monetarily, but I made those lines with love, man.
yeah,
Mhm.
you definitely did. I was looking at them; they look beautiful. Yep. Mark Lumen and helped me a lot. You know, just allowing me to come to his place and use his field to go and practice and go out and facilitate everything for me. Phil, backup plane, Mark McKinney gave me some batteries, so I have something to fly with over there. And just quite a few people helped me. I appreciate everything.
Oh,
Good,
you're
man.
welcome, man.
Say thank you, guys.
Well done.
You're welcome. Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, and by the way, even with the judging, I still ended up in I think P28, a couple of places down from Joe Daly.
Wow, pretty good. That's
Pretty
you guys-
good.
That's in good
We
company.
were right next to each other.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
He does pretty good job.
Actually, quite a few flights I was beating him, I think, or real close to him. But again, if you look at the scores, your guess.
Yeah,
is
I know
as
it's
good as
just
mine.
so frustrating. Yeah, but hopefully one day we'll
Yeah.
get some sort of technology of tracing or something to make it more equitable.
That's why I was 100% on board with that. We have what tracing technology. We have the actual maneuvers that we can put on a circle. All we have to do is just find a programmer that can, can figure out a program or to start and end the maneuver and compare it to the perfect stuff and then put out a score. And at that point, nobody's gonna say a word about the scores anymore.
Yeah.
You wanna bet?
Single word.
You wanna bet? You wanna bet?
Because
Yeah,
somebody's
there are
gonna
gonna
have
be
to,
those that got favoritism before and they can get it no more. Yeah, those they will say something about it
Yeah.
for
I
sure.
don't know. I've never seen a video that was an accurate representation of a flight, so
Mm.
maybe we can get there, maybe we can't. And then you also have to convince me that you can, by looking at a video, you can tell the difference between a 1-point mistake and a 1.5 or 2-point mistake. And
It
my
happened
opinion is gonna be
really-
different than your opinion.
Howard Rush
So-
made a great statement 10 years ago. If you want a better score, fly better.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I
You can
agree.
do that? You,
Oh,
No, I'm not saying I
that's
can't.
it.
I go.
Hey, Joe, how do you get to Carnegie Hall?
You practice a lot.
Practice, yeah, that's
With-
it. That's still the
don't-
thing, that's still the best thing you can do.
Yeah.
And,
an automated system, somebody still has to assign some value for whatever errors are detected. And what
Mhm.
constitute a minor, medium, major error on what, that still
Yeah.
has to be worked out.
yeah, and we'll be getting into arguments on, what adjustments you made because the camera wasn't exactly lined up. Just a couple of
You need-
degrees,
Yeah.
one way or the other
Colleen
can really
coaching
throw
you, tell you what
perspectives.
you do wrong.
I don't know, I just don't see it happening.
well, there are
So-
4K cameras that are available. They have very good resolution and a lot of frames per second. And I think if you look at the video tracing with what's perceived,
Mhm.
if you watch the same flight that's traced and the same flight that's not traced, and you look at the not traced before versus the traced one, you start to realize that, hey, I didn't even realize that, like, for example, corners are soft or the maneuver is big or whatever,
Mhm.
I mean, if you look at the tracing of a flight, I mean, it reveals a lot of stuff that the naked eye sometimes doesn't even see it.
Well, let me let Lynn Burrell into the conversation. Go ahead, Lynn.
No, I was just gonna say, as I judge more, I'm learning not to complain about judging, because you know what? When you're the guy sitting in the chair, it's a different story. And you know what? It's hard to get it all. You think you're
Get a
getting
pin.
it all, and you think you're judging it right, and then sometimes you're way off. And that's the deal. When you're the guy in the chair, it's a different story. And you
Well,
try to
and-
do
and-
the best, you try to do the best you can. We all do.
Yeah, that's it.
But
And a
it's
very,
still
very wise man
hard. It's
coached
very
me
hard
on,
thing to do.
I
Yeah,
was-
I
I
know,
was
I
in
know
the
who
chair
that
too.
wise man is.
no, a very wise man coached me on this point, one of my usual, post competition rants about judging and everything like that. And he says, you know what? This is the nature of the event.
Yeah,
It's a subjective, it's subjective about, how we flew. You don't really see it the way the judge saw it, and the judges are gonna make
Exactly.
their best, they're gonna take their best thing.
That's
No,
right.
they're not out to get you and everything like that.
I agree.
Nature of the event is that, you're gonna be judged sometimes, you're gonna be happy with the results, and sometimes you're gonna be unhappy with the results. And if you can't live with that, maybe you should spend your time doing something else. All right.
It's very true. I
I've
agree
run into
100%.
one judge where it was personal. I won't say names or initials, but it was personal.
Yeah, and Keith, I think you just for the record, Mr. Trossel is the one who helped point that out, and I took that lesson to heart. Doesn't mean I still don't complain about judges, but and as Len says, the more you judge, the more you get sensitized to what judges see. And one thing to see a mistake, it's another thing to see a mistake and say that mistake is worth 3 points.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
hard. It's so
Points.
hard.
Yeah.
It is hard.
So hard.
Or 8, they can.
And think about how much time you only have to make that decision.
Well, you got
Yeah.
5-second laps. You got 10 seconds
Yeah,
between
you got 10
maneuvers.
seconds to make your decision on every single
And
maneuver.
write it down.
And sometimes all day long, sitting out in the hot sun. Good luck with that.
And good
Yeah.
luck with the fact that you have to realize how hard it is to be mentally sharp enough to know that mistake you saw on the second
That's
flight
right.
is the exact same mistake you saw somebody else do on the 30th flight. And the point value should be the same.
The same.
Right?
Yeah.
Good luck.
There's a lot of things that are going wrong, or there's a lot of things that are really challenging, that are tough to do. All right.
Yeah. It's
But I still
interesting.
reserve the right to complain about judges, referees, umpires, etc.
But never was.
Just cause, right? And
I'm going to leave the judges alone, dude.
yeah, that's it.
It's a hard job.
And put it in place. You ever watch? I don't know if any of you guys are baseball fans, but everybody can call balls and strikes better than the guy behind the plate, right? So.
Oh yeah.
I bet I'd say that there is nothing in sports harder than calling balls and strikes in a baseball game.
Dealing with little league mom and dad.
That's it.
Hey, Joe.
That's it.
Joe,
Let me interrupt.
Yeah, little league mom and dad, soccer. Yeah, same thing.
Let me interrupt for a second. Let me welcome Paul Taylor. Thank you for coming in, Paul. Appreciate that.
Hey, Paul.
And we're gonna have Mark Lumen. I'm gonna give you a chance, Mark, to do what you want to do, and then Keith Trossel has something to show, and I have some pictures of it. So let's go ahead and go with Paul. I wonder if that background noise is you, Paul. Do you have a compressor going on or something?
No. Put my fan on.
Hey, Joe, I want to say something real quick, Joe. You just said something about judges. Made me realize you're smarter than I thought you were.
Hey guys, check this out.
I hope so.
Check this out.
All right.
Whoa!
Make it bigger here.
Oh, do this again. Show that again. All right.
This is a magazine from the Nordics. I'm a very good friends over there with the Swedes. And this is their control line magazine for the Nordic countries like Sweden, Netherlands, over there.
Cool.
Super nice.
It's a good magazine too. A lot of their articles are in French and German, but a lot of them are in English.
Yes. Yeah. Just something.
Wow.
Oh, color. Wow.
Look at the paint jobs.
Very cool.
Results
Very
from
nice.
competitions.
I've been trying to find out how to subscribe to that magazine.
Oh, I think it's Nicholas. His name is Nicholas. And wait a second.
Anyhow.
I'm trying to figure it out here. Well, all right, I don't see the.
Well, if you run across it, I'd like to find out. So Don't
Yeah,
worry
but-
about it now.
Yeah, this is one of them. This is another one. They have all kind of, construction stuff.
Wow.
Actually, you probably recognize this guy here, right?
Oh, yeah.
Probably recognize some of this too, right?
Couple of those guys.
Oh, look
wow,
at that.
yeah.
Second wind. That's pretty.
And there was like there was an interview here. Full tribute to Bob Hunt.
There's Bob. Yeah.
I have an interview with Chris Rudd. Some more competition that they have over there. Beautiful pictures, man. I mean, the magazine is just like that. Plants.
Hmm. Oh, yeah. That's pretty.
Stuff.
Red around the checkerboard.
I mean, this is really nice.
Okay.
I'll look up for the information. Maybe put some pictures on Stunthangar and
Okay.
put some contact information. It's not expensive. It was like $30 for a year. I don't know how many magazines, but he leaves.
Wow.
I think it's worth money.
All right. Well, thank you, Tryon. Hey, Gordon Delaney made it in here. Thank you very much. And I see
Hey,
that
Gordon.
James McKinney is showing his face. Thank you,
Hey,
James.
James.
You're the second pilot in uniform. Mark Lumen had his uniform on earlier. So
And I'm gonna say good night.
you gonna say good night? All right, good night,
Yeah.
Tryon.
Yeah, I
Thank
gotta
you.
You got to head to work in the morning.
Night, Tryon.
Take care, Train. Talk to you soon, buddy.
Night.
Bye. Take
All
care.
right.
You
Hey,
too.
Mark, if you could hold tight for a minute, I'm gonna have Keith show his fuselage jig, as I have some photographs. Would it be easier if I show the photographs first, Keith?
Yeah,
Or
let's show the photographs first so you can see how this thing.
okay,
sets up.
I have one up. Let me share the screen. Share.
A lot of guys got their audio blocked.
That's so funny. They might have background noise.
Yeah.
Hang on. It didn't show up, huh?
Yeah, it's there.
It's there.
It's
We
there.
see- Okay. All right. So that's the first photograph of 3, Keith. Let me see if I
Okay.
can make it bigger.
Oh, it's okay.
It's
That's
big.
full page there.
It
So go ahead.
shows up good. Shows up good, Charles.
All right, go ahead, Keith.
Okay, Charles is asking about, we were talking on the phone the other day about things, and this idea of the fuselage jig came up. And I bought this thing, I don't know, it's dated 2010, so 12 years ago I bought this thing. And it comes from Bluegrass Models. It's in Dallas. I don't know whether Bluegrass is there anymore. And the guy's name was George Winby or something like that. I don't think
Hamby, wasn't it George Hamby?
Hamby, that's right. I don't
George-
think he's with us anymore. But
Yeah, he's still alive.
okay, then he might still be making these things, and whatever he charged then, it's still worth it. It's like you're looking at somebody that was a professional cabinet maker, that what this thing is. But anyway, you can see the grid on it. Those are 1/2 inch by 1 inch grids. And you see how the
Awesome.
clamps then hold the fuselage in line. And you can put those formers or blocks, you can probably keep accuracy within 1/2 millimeter through the length of that whole fuselage.
Wow.
That is
And-
outstanding.
And because you can measure with that grid, you can measure from there's a red center line on that grid that you can't see very well. But maybe we can show this. I don't know if this will show any better.
Let me make you big. Just a second here.
Well, that's the fuselage a year ago for my chiseler that's ready for color right now.
Is that showing up big, you guys?
No.
No,
No.
No,
You
We're
have to
still-
shut
Yeah,
off
looks good.
share screen, I think.
Okay, let me
No, I
start
see it.
sharing.
Okay, here we go.
Hey, you got it.
There we go.
There you got it.
There, you can get an idea of what this thing, I'll get the right perspective here somehow.
That is amazing.
He
Yeah.
had some pretty good stuff, George did.
Yeah,
Nice finish too.
well, I think it's finished like whatever a boat varnish would be, because it's super
Spar
hard.
varnish. Spar varnish.
I think it is. It's brittle, but it is super smooth and super durable. And there you can see a couple of the blocks hold it in place. This thing is move it around and then clamp it down in the slot. And I'd be lost now if I didn't have this when I was putting the fuselage together.
That is a great tool.
So I think Bob Hunt made those as well. Jimmy Lynch had one. That's what I built my Vector in.
Yeah, Bob's has a metal U channel underneath it. The I-beam type piece runs down the center of it, and
I think you can see the operation, how this thing works.
works great.
It's very smooth.
I like that. That really looks nice. Now I'm gonna have to go put a grid pattern on mine.
Well, it's a lifesaver because, like I say, you can measure where the endpoints are on these blocks, and relative to the grid marks on there. Like I was saying, I can be within the width of these of the marks on the accuracy, front to tail.
That's really nice. I do it mine with set it up with a ruler off the center line, but that's so much nicer. And I don't have any horizontal lines down it. I just have one line down the middle.
Yeah.
So you've just done a dangerous thing, Keith. You've given me an idea.
So for me,
Oh,
this is
my
indispensable
goodness,
anymore.
Oh, I bet. I bet it's just dangerous that now I got to go do something. Lord have mercy.
And that's about it. You can see he sent, there's what, about 10, 12 of these support that came with it.
Are those rounded on the ends, or are they square, or what? Looks like they're
What
rounded.
you
but I
mean
don't think
on this?
right, that surface, yes, sir.
Yeah, well, here, let me show you. It's well, this one, it's rounded.
Okay, yeah,
on
it's
the
rounded.
edge a little bit, but then for like in the nose, you have a straight piece on the nose.
Yeah,
Well,
so you'd have a flat
that's
block.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's great. I like that.
And
Beautiful. If anybody
no-
finds out that they're still making that, I could go for a second one.
I don't know if that shows. No, that's not going to show up very well.
That information you think still current that you're showing there on the end of the jig?
Well, this was 12 years ago,
Oh,
and I don't know if Bluegrass Models is still there or not. If what was the name?
Dale Gleason could tell you for sure.
Yeah, Dale Gleason knows about this.
I know George, but I don't know his
Yeah, he
number.
was involved with Bluegrass Models. Whether they're still doing anything like this or not, or whether Hamby is still making these things, I have no idea.
Joe, if you could find out, I'd be interested. If they're willing to still build them, I'd be interested in one of them.
yeah, so would I be interested too. I probably can't afford it, but I'd be interested.
Well, it's not.
I didn't say I could afford it. I just said I'd be interested.
It's not cheap, but once you have it, you'll wonder why you didn't get it before.
I got very similar, but mine don't have lines. I got one Oliver built. But those little rounded ends, everything there is really, really good. You can move them in and out, up and down, left and right.
Yeah, that is just.
It's just the way to go, man. And
And
the
then you-
rounded ends, you have to have those rounded in because it'll beat your balls up otherwise.
And you
Yeah.
can line these things up with a grid line, so you know each one's in exactly the same place relative to what's on the other side. It's just
That is so amazing.
quite a tool.
For
That
sure.
is very, very nice. I like that.
And here, let's see, you can see, yeah, you can see how these things work on. This is handy to use on the nose and on the tail section where everything tapers pretty straight. So, and if you go back to the picture, Charles, if you could show the picture.
Sure, let me go back there. Share screen. All right. That's showing up.
You can see I've got some machined steel blocks that are very precision made and all the same dimensions. And you can see under the nose, that's setting up underneath the tank compartment and motor mounts, which is all metal plate. I use 16th inch metal plate throughout all that to tie everything together as a yoke to go around the engine. And then it sets that's sets the thrust line at the top of that block inside the
Yeah,
inside the nose compartment. So then you can establish your reference line for the whole length of the fuselage based on that thrust line. So that sets your wing at 0, and then you can set your tail at whatever angle you want. Like I use between 1 degree and 1.5 degree positive incidence. And to me, that's as accurate as I can measure and get it right, because once that thing is formed on the jig like that, and you get it pretty well put together with everything braced and the internal structure and so forth, it's not going to twist and it's not going to bend.
Mm-mm.
Remember how we
Amen.
used to build them in the air?
Yeah, well,
yeah.
I
Oh,
did
God.
Most of
one,
the time.
the last one I did, and it looked like a pretzel when I was finished. I said, never again.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
that's
just
what I
a-
did.
yeah, building anything in the air is just a guess, period.
And this
Yeah.
just takes all the guesswork. I mean, it's there. Like I say,
Yeah.
I'm positive that from the center line, tip to tail, it's within a 32nd, or I'm sorry, 0.5 millimeter.
Yeah, it's within,
So it's,
About as dead on as you're gonna get.
You're building
Keith, I
with
got-
wood. And if you can build it better than that with wood, I don't know
Yeah.
how.
you
yeah, I
can't.
don't know how, you can't, it's wood. You're just not gonna get it any more accurate. That's fantastic.
Balsa moves that much.
Yeah,
Yeah, it sure does.
that is a beautiful board though. I've got one based on the old fashioned style. Works great, but that is gorgeous.
So
It
is that,
Yeah.
is that plywood or is it a laminated board?
It's like 5-ply marine plywood.
Okay, marine plywood, yeah, that's what I thought, okay.
It's super hard,
Yeah.
super straight. And like I say, this thing is put together like a precision cabinet maker would do.
Yep, that's gorgeous.
It really is.
I think I'll try and make one.
Keith, I got a question for you. I marveled at your planes for more years than either one of us want to think about. What kind of paint do you use?
Well, over the last, I don't know, 15 years, I've gone to Brodak primarily for the base. Oh, yeah. The fuselage and solid wood I cover with nitrate paint, and then cover all the fuselage blocks and fuselage with carbon mat, 2/10 ounce carbon mat with
Mhm.
the nitrate, and then put
Mhm.
on enough nitrate to fill that mat, because it acts like a sponge. It just soaks it
It
up.
does. It really does.
And you put on enough where you can start sanding and get some of the fuzz off, and then you end up with sort of a shiny coat over the nitrate.
Mhm.
And then I'm using Brodak. I use the balsa filler as to fill all of whatever's left in the mat. By the way, carbon mat does a lot better covering over the balsa wood than silk span.
Oh,
Silk
definitely.
Silk span still sinks into the
Notches.
to the grain, and the carbon mat does not, or
Yep.
not bad.
Not very
And
bad.
and it won't. Once it's on there, it won't sink in like silk span does.
Yeah.
And sanding seal or balsa primer over that, and then again with Brodak, I put on the base coat is a light gray, polar gray, or something lighter.
Mhm. Yeah, I use polar
And,
gray and white.
And I'm still using Brodak colors, although I'm not totally enhanced by, I don't really like some of the stuff, but it works. And then after all the color and the trim's done, put on a coat of urethane.
Urethane.
Ran out of
Okay.
Pactor, didn't you?
What's that?
So you ran out of Pactor, didn't you?
Well, I still got a couple old cans, but it's
Oh,
turned,
Lord.
it's turned, and I've got some old Sig jars too. And I've got a whole bunch of Sig clear, but and I haven't really dared to try. Can you mix Sig clear over under Brodak color? I don't know,
I've heard you can.
but I've not tried that. I've got a whole bunch of Sig clear I may use that sometime in the future. I don't know.
You do it basically the way I do it. You just you use you're using their sealer, and I use, once I get the carbon fiber built up to where it looks shiny, then I'll sand it down and get it flat and get it where I'm just noticing it's just taking off a little bit of the fuzz, a little bit of black, and then I'll mix up take some half a pint of clear, and I'll put usually nitrate clear, and I'll just put baby powder in there as thick as till you reach the point of solubility. It just won't hold anymore, and brush that on. I don't try to squirt it because you have to put too much thinner in it to go through a spray gun. So I just brush it on, and
Well,
then
I've used
go ahead.
clear and zinc stearate a couple times, and the zinc
That
stearate
works great too.
I think I got from Wendy a long time ago. I got several pounds of that stuff, so a big box of that stuff. I'll never get it all used up.
Yeah, I got a little bit from Randy, but I have used it all up.
And
I
if
built
nobody
it.
ever uses zinc stearate is to baby powder what baby powder is to sand.
Yeah, it really is. It's much, much finer. It will go through a
Wow.
spray gun. It'll go through a spray gun. Baby powder a lot of times will not. You'll be spraying along, and all of a sudden your gun jams up, and you pull the filter out, and it's just full of baby powder.
I got a question for you guys. I've got
All right.
some clear dope and it's old and it's turning brown. Can I still use it or should I chuck it?
I've used it on the bottom to fill wood with, but I don't know about.
Yeah, if you're doing just base coat to fill the grain, fill the silk span or silk, whatever, I think you can still use it.
Okay.
It doesn't look very nice.
Yeah,
If
that's
it-
right. Okay.
I think you have to throw it away.
Okay. But it shouldn't be a problem for adhesion or anything, should it?
No.
Okay.
No.
I don't know, Len, sounds like you're brewing some embroidered glue.
Well, actually, I got the dope from Wendy about 5 years after he got out of the hobby. And so the dope had been sitting around for quite a while. It's just quarts of clear, but they seem to have discolored somewhat.
Well,
Yeah, but the last clear I got from Brodax was amber colored.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it's like. It's
And
like
it's still fine for base coats and things, but no
But
good for top coats.
no good for top coat. Okay.
I've had some Brodak white that's gone bad, that's turned color.
Yeah.
And
I have
yellow
too.
has turned color. So
Okay.
beware.
How
what-
much? Another dumb question. If you're going to shoot white, how much other color? I always put a shot of either dark blue or black in it, and usually I use dark blue to kill the yellow. How much do you put in there, or do you even do that?
I don't even do that. I find the freshest can of white I can.
Yeah.
Well, that'd be the best. That'd probably be the best deal, but I generally have to get it done this weekend. Like now, I'm 3 weeks as a contest. I got to get it finished.
I just keep
47 colors
ordering
of
white from Brodak.
Yeah,
There's 47 colors of white, Bill.
you ain't lying. There's almost as many whites as there are reds.
Oh,
And you talk about red. I bought the reddest red you could buy, supposedly, when I painted my Datsun, and went to take the car to a show. And a friend of mine has just redone his Datsun, and I'll be darned, his is redder than mine is.
I don't know. We used to paint heavy duty trucks for, Navistar.
Yeah.
Used to be internet. We used to paint heavy trucks in customer colors. I mean, we had 81 different shades of white.
Wow.
81 shades of white. All right.
Well, the
Mix
joke
them all
used to be
together.
the joke used to be at the Chrysler dealership. We got 27 different reds.
Mm-hmm.
We got one white and we got one black. That
Mhm.
is not true anymore, because now they've got black that has fleck in it of all different shades.
Mm-hmm.
And they've also got white and pearl white, and I've forgotten what they call the other. And then they got refrigerator white. And, the guys that do paint, I mean, they can have it. That's got to be enough to drive you crazy.
Yeah.
There's a guy in Dallas named Bill Wilson. He painted cars for a living. And he always said that he wanted the fleet white. like a fleet white Ford wheat flight. That's what he liked. And he said,
Yeah.
if you'll put 3 or 4 drops of cord that is pure black, that the white will color better. But I never had the nerve to do that.
Well, I've always opened a quart of white dope. I mean, I stir it up good, and then I pour in about half a teaspoon, not half a teaspoon, about a fourth of a teaspoonful of dark blue, usually Corsair blue, because I like Bearcats and stuff. So I always have some dark blue around. Put in a shot of dark blue and then go back and I got a buddy that has a paint mixer and just mix that for 20 minutes. And then come home as quick as I can get here, mix the darn stuff up and shoot it on the plane. It usually looks pretty good. Not every time, but usually it looks pretty good. But it kills the yellow is what it does.
Bob
And you
Cialdini
get
in the
what-
Olympic articles reminded everybody to throw a slug of blue in the white so it didn't look chalky.
That's where I got it from.
Yep.
Speaking of killing the yellow, though, actually, Pete Peterson got me started with yellow airplanes. And I found the proof of the pudding. If you're flying in an area where you got a lot of green background you're flying through, that yellow airplane really shows up on a green background. Better than just about any other color. So most of my planes will have some amount of yellow on them.
Yeah.
Well, that's why Al Raby had it on the Mustangs. I wondered why. Now I can't remember the name of the darn thing. Snaggletooth had so much yellow on it. Had the R on the rudder and it had the yellow nose, all and wingtips and all that. I asked him why, and he said, "You ever fly a silver airplane?" "No, sir." So if you ever fly one, you'll know why. You won't have to ask that question. Well, now I've got an SV11 that is silver. And I don't care winter, summer, spring, or fall, that darn thing will disappear when you come out of the sun and into the trees and the shadows. It just disappears. That thing of Keith's, I could never figure out how he flies it. It is so beautiful, but it is hard to see.
This thing is what you use so it disappears in the trees there at Whittier.
For sure.
It does that for sure.
I always wondered how you flew that. I said, he's got better eyes than I've got. I'd be scared to judge that thing and try to do it fair at some fields.
Try flying it after dinner.
No, I don't do that. We've got a guy here in Charlotte, and I'm not going to say any names, but Mark, you know him well, that will fly darn near at dark, and he'll go out and fly. And I'm sitting there. He comes down and what do you think of that flight? What flight? I heard a motor.
I couldn't see it.
And he's out there flying it. It's one of his good airplanes. I think he's crazy. I mean, we're talking electric too. It's not like you can see the glow off the exhaust pipe or anything. We're talking electric. And
wow,
he flies that silly thing, and I'm sitting there. Have you lost your cotton picking mind?
Wow.
But he said, "Oh, it was a great flight. That was one of my best flights." Who knows? I couldn't see it.
He don't have cataracts, does he?
He don't have what?
Cataracts.
No.
He must not. He must not. Mark.
No, he drives a Rinkin. Oh.
No, drives a
He drives a Rinkin.
Who is?
You guys are dead. Okay, Charles is trying. Let Charles take over here.
I just don't want to test Mark's patience anymore. Mark Wise, you wanted to say something?
Well, I probably don't have anything as popular as paint on my mind, but I wanted to share a few things and ask for a little bit of help. I'll tell you where things are with the gnats. You have to have a lot of tenacity and passion to sit in this chair, at least the way I look at it. After the Saturday at the Nats, a lot of questions have been raised, and I can tell you where that is right now. I spent 4 days in West Virginia with some of the people from ANA, people absolutely geared into competition, and that was very worthwhile. And I'll tell you a little bit more about the event, but there's a guy named Tony Stillman. Tony has been put in charge of competition, which kind of means that Tony is the ultimate responsibility for the Nats, which I think is very, very important. And he has tremendous experience in pattern. He understands control line very well. And so does one of the reps on the executive committee, a guy named Mark Radcliffe, who also used to be on world teams for the US. So these guys are big hitters. We spent hours and hours together. And on my ride out and on my ride back, I spoke to Chad Boudreau, as executive director. And I think we finally have a statement that's ready to come out that basically says that what happened to us at the Nats showed how out of date the Nats manual is, as well as requirements for people to be in different positions. And we got down to the point of the question came about of who's in charge of our contest while we're at the Nats, and who's in charge of combat when they're at the Nats, and who's in charge of speed when they're at the Nats. And it was my point of view that if we're going to be a SIG appointed by the Nats, then that whole event should be called by us and not anybody else. And there was agreement on that. And one of the things that I think is helping us right now, I didn't realize this, but next year is the 100th anniversary of the AMA. It's also, I believe, the 50th. I think it's also the 50th anniversary of Tampa. I think we were formed in around 73. And there's a real serious move on of the people I've talked to make it a very, very special Nats, to make people feel absolutely welcome they're there, and to turn this whole thing around where AMA looks like it's not interested in competition to where I think they're going to be. So it's just taken a lot of background work, a lot of politicking, just a lot of time, just to stand fast in your tracks and not cave in to other people. So I think it's going to be all good. I don't know who's going to be in what position next year up there regarding people that work with us. But I think whatever changes they do make, whatever they might be, I think are going to be very positive. So one of the things they've asked me to think about that I'd like for you to think about, and I'll get with the district directors on this, is could we have a special one-time event at next year's Nats to coincide with the 50th Pampa and the 100th Nats? And one of the thoughts was, they asked, well, do you have events that are limited to certain airplanes depending on when they were designed? And of course we do. But would we be interested in going back to the very earliest days of control line flying and have an event for people who are willing to put those kind of airplanes together? I think it'd be kind of neat. I don't know how much buy-in there would be. It would be an unofficial event, but it could be something pretty special. So after all this, I think it's all going to work out well. They're redoing the Nats manual. We have two very strong people in our corner who agreed with everything, and Chad agreed to change the wording of his statement, which was very important to me. He knew I didn't like the way it was worded, because it left out something very important about the fact that AMA never spoke to the event director or never spoke to me about canceling the event. And that to me is intolerable. You can't do that. So I think that's all good news about the Nats. So anyone who wants to get any information to me about it, any thoughts you have, should we have a special event for the 100th anniversary? We have some time to talk about it, but it's going to be September soon. And if you're going to build or enter, we have to kind of know what's going on. Second thing was, for the second year, well, this guy's only run it 2 years. There's a guy named Ed Waske who owns a full-scale company that services corporate jets in West Virginia. And he's been talking to me and others about the problem the industry is having attracting people in any position in aviation, from pilots to mechanics to service people. The passion about aviation just seems to be slipping quite a bit. So he thought of the idea of having an aviation expo geared for kids, and where kids would come and experience control line, experience radio control, experience solid Estes kind of rockets, see indoor free flight, indoor rubber, and then have maybe one or two universities there that have aircraft aviation programs, and kind of plant the seed. So this is the second year. We had 2 full days of flying. There were 2 or 3 guys there from AMA who were doing RC with buddy boxes, and they stayed real busy. People there were firing rockets. There was a guy there from Maryland who was really good at rubber indoor. The guy really had the planes trimmed, and they have a facility there. Give you an idea of the size. There's an indoor regulation soccer field, indoor.
Wow,
And there are
that's a big place.
8 full basketball courts, Olympic-sized pool, and on around this area are baseball fields where we flew control line. There were about 6 guys there from the Brodak kind of area that were flying, just people to watch flying control line. And I ended up alone. Someone who was going to help me had something else he just had to do, which he did. And I had 132 kids on the handle for, I don't know, 16 hours, I guess it was.
Wow.
That's outdoors.
Bet you weren't tired that night, were you, Mark?
Did you say
Well,
132 kids?
132.
Wow.
And I thought about how many times I would have to make clockwise circles to get even. But it's a pretty scary number when you look at it. The average flight was about 10 laps. And there were, you learn a lot from this thing. One was the 6 guys flying their own control line planes were about 100 feet from me. And they kept coming over and saying to me, my God, how are you handling all these people? None of them ever volunteered to help. And I think, I'm not knocking them, I think they're a little bit nervous about handling the kids, about flying an airplane maybe they're not familiar with. Joe knows the airplane. It's a little electric ring rat. And amazingly, somehow God was watching over me. I brought 4 airplanes and only used 1 and took it home in the same condition that I left with it, which was remarkable.
That
is remarkable.
We ended up, Ed, I shouldn't say we, Ed and his wife and others, we got 588 kids to show up for the 2 days. That's a lot of kids.
That's a lot of kids.
West Virginia is not that densely populated. This is Bridgeport, which is quite a nice area. The RC guys had about 150 flights. I had 132. There were several hundred that went into see the indoor rubber. A lot of rockets were shot off. The National Guard had a rock climbing wall, which was great for the kids, particularly those with a lot of energy. But at the end, we were facing the same issue, and maybe you can help on this. I saw that about half the parents there kind of viewed us as their babysitter. In other words, when the kid was waiting for his turn to fly control line, the moms were talking to the moms, the dads were talking to the dads, and no one was paying particular attention to their son or daughter. But then there were the ones that were cheering them on, that were yelling and hooping when they were landing. And a lot of them said to me at the end of each flight, okay, Mark, where do we go from here? Where do we go from here? Well, that's good in one respect. There's no hobby shop there. There are no control line clubs there. Fortunately, 2 guys from West Virginia, Panther members, showed up. So I kind of funneled it to them. But I'd like you to consider, when you're going to all these contests, there just may be people there that aren't into the hobby. I hope there are. And I'd appreciate it if you see anyone with interest, give them my name. I'll find a way to get to them. I'll get them through the district director. We'll find a place for them. But we keep talking about what's going on with control line stunt today, and I'm trying to say what's going on with control line stunt tomorrow. And I'm glad we're all having a great time. But, you know, we need to do something to bring up the bottom, whatever that means. So any ideas that you have, the board's been working on it. I met a ton of wonderful young people. And I just wish I could somehow stay with them, give them the district director's phone number, and let's see if we can't get them interested in this great hobby. It's one of the things I've talked to the guys at the Nats about, that why, when we have the Nats, the national championships, why don't people who live within 30, 40 miles know about it? Why aren't they invited in? Why can't they see a demonstration flight by a top 5 guy? Or watch combat, or watch the speed guys, or watch anything? It's amazing. I'll be curious, the contest you guys are going to in Las Vegas and other places, how many people are invited there to watch? You know, otherwise we're just kind of inbreeding.
Yeah.
So I'd just like you to think about that, not to do anything extra, but say to yourself, you know, we had 3,000 members at one point. I think we're at 360, 370 now, and that's up 60 in the last quarter. So I'm just hoping we can do both, that we can have fun every day, and then also find people who may want to do what we do. It's not easy, but you know, I'd like to know that people 10 and 20 years from now can go to a control line contest and go to the Nats. So I just wanted to bring you up to date. I hope not taking too much time. I think good things are going to come out of the Nats and out of AMA. I think we'll have a much tighter relationship. The special interest groups are going to be more important than they ever have been. The Nats manual will be updated. There'll be a person in charge of it who absolutely understands contests and building and all the devotion you have to put in. I raised a lot of questions about how a team manager was selected who does not have firsthand experience. I said, I don't understand that, and they agreed. And I know how much the team manager did for the control line guys, and I'm not going to pass that along to you. It's embarrassing. That's my deal. I wish I had more time to build and fly, but I'm just trying to get this going and get us back on the upswing. I'm tired of people saying, you know, just let it die, let it go away. And I'm not going to do that. And I don't want any of you to do that.
Right.
That's
hey, Mark, I think, hang on, Mark, I think John has a question for you, I bet. Is that right, John?
I did. Mark, we talked about this before, but what you're talking about there at the end of your flying session with those, that's remember that trifold we were talking about?
Yep.
That's the perfect place to use it.
You're out of here, Brad. All right. Thanks for coming in, Brad. Thank you.
And it's also the perfect time is to give the kid one at the end, but kind of pass them out amongst people. Take the time maybe to tell the people that are watching, maybe the parents, what the plane is doing when he's flying, you know, out there, or something along that line. I mean, I agree with you. You put in a tremendous amount of work, and I hope and pray it pays off for us all.
Well, John, I think it will, and we have started printing that brochure. We're doing it on our own right now. It's being used in Virginia. I know that because Scott Richland's the one who updated it. We have a place on it for the Panther member to put their name and phone number, so whoever gets it knows who to call. And we just, you know, budget-wise, we're trying to figure out if we can print them with the current money we have, or if we can do it on our own home printers. But it's really more important what's inside than how pretty it might look. So it's a great point. You know, working alone was very difficult to have the parents and the child listening to what's going on, because in many cases, it was really me flying completely. So I probably had a dozen kids under 3, you know, that I just picked up in my arms and just gave them the experiences. The parents just loved the picture. They just loved what they were seeing. It's tiring, but it's very rewarding. You know, the kids were great. They're absolutely great. So we're going to try to figure out next year, what can we give them and who should be there? And one of the things I'm going to try to do is have the District 3 district director there happens to be Bob Hunt, and at least get it closer. I'm responsible for the country. Bob has 4 states. So I think we could attack this thing, and we have some great people out there, people on the line right now. So we're going to get it done. It just takes some work. So the 2 things that we're involved with very heavily right now, establishing a very tight relationship with AMA that everyone's happy about. And then secondly, to feed the pipeline. Charles, thanks for your time, buddy.
You're welcome. Paul, do you have a question for Mark or just a question in general? Oh, you got to mute your mic, Paul.
Yeah, sorry, not really a question, just kind of feeding off of what Mark said. So about 2 weeks ago, I was up for just a day, and there was other people that were there, but EAA, we flew kids all week long. Just we had 2 circles going, 2 lines of kids. What was kind of disheartening was the AMA trailer was like right behind us, and I asked Chris Sterner is taking that over. He was kind of like second in command this year. Jerry and company are retiring after I think they did it for like 15 years. But yeah, the AMA folks never came over to to the control line circle, which I kind of figured they would, but that never occurred. But I would maybe suggest Mark getting in touch with Chris if you're coming up with some brochures and stuff, and maybe he can help be an ambassador to to kind of get these kids in there. When I'm flying the kids, and same thing, I mean, I'm picking up the little ones, but I always go ask the parents first, because everybody's crazy. But yeah, you ask them if you can pick them up, and you fly the kids. But as I'm flying them, I'm just kind of putting a bug in their ear about becoming a getting into the aviation field, whether it be mechanics or piloting. And I've got girls as well as boys, so there's a big opportunity there.
Absolutely. And Mark Radcliffe was there, and he worked the Oshkosh show for AMA and talked about, well, he was doing RC, but how busy they were. And but he said that it's the same problem. What happens when they leave you? They go back with a quick memory, and a couple of days later, it's back to their old life, and nothing's changed. And that's the part that we need to get a better handle on. Thank you for that.
Mom and daddy have to be involved.
Yeah, absolutely. Because they got to buy the stuff. Did you have a question, James McKinney?
Sure, it does.
If you do, you have to unmic you, Mark. There we go. Good. Go ahead, James.
No, I'm curious about the brochures, and you said about printing stuff. I mean, Maca's got a pretty good war chest that from dues. I mean, I don't know if this is geared towards having people interested in Pampa and stunt, or if this is people interested in control line. We have always been of the opinion that if you want to fly control line, here's everything you can do with a control line airplane. Here's racing, here's speed, here's carrier. All these groups. I don't know. I'm spitballing here. I don't know really what's possible, but if you want a sidebar, shoot me an email or a message on the stunt form about what you guys got going on. Maybe there's some way we can help, or maybe there's some way we can contribute.
Well, I appreciate that, and I think it would work both ways. That if someone's interested in stunt or someone's interested in combat, the chances of them cross-pollinating aren't too bad. And
Right.
Someone's going to win, which is great. That's what it's all about. And I appreciate that, and I will do that. Thank you, James.
And hang on, Dennis. Stuart had a question. Then Dennis had a missing. Go ahead, Stuart.
Mark, I guess we got the same problem with our RC, but we also control line itself is having problems. What I was wondering is, you were at big events where you had these people where you were flying with, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so how do you get people in a small town out in the country to get involved in doing what we're doing, either RC or control line? The other thing is, I was wondering, has anybody ever used Facebook to try and promote promote things to get people out to clubs?
I know there are clubs that use Facebook all the time announcing events. There are several more generic websites that people use. We have one in Tampa that
See, what
Matt
I'm
Coleman
thinking
runs. But it's the same problem that I've talked to AMA about, that, you know, people that get Model Aviation Magazine are already in the hobby.
But I'm
And I
thinking
think
more
that's,
with regards to trying to use Facebook to actually bring people to your club. There's different things I've seen lately. I'm not an expert on Facebook and all this, but we have a local thing in a town of 5,000, and it's like a free site. You want something, you want to give it away, you put it on there for free. You could. I'm wondering if we're missing out on things like Facebook that could actually really hit a lot of people. Like, and you could say, well, come on out. This is what I'm thinking of trying to do with my own club, and trying to bring people out and say, look, come on out. You show a bit of a video of a plane and say, we'll teach you how to fly it. I mean, years ago, almost all you guys, I would assume, got into this hobby because of Cox planes.
Yeah.
You heard it in the backyard somewhere and you wonder, what's that? And you run over. That's how I learned and I found out about it. And I didn't get into I did get a Cox plane. I had one when I was 13, I can't remember, and then I got back into it just 2 years ago. But I found out about it when I saw a guy down the road with one, and he had a bigger one like we fly, and that was years ago when I was a kid. So it was like its own advertisement, right? I'm actually thinking of trying to do something in a community that I live 2 miles away. That's like, I'm talking 200 people, but I'm going to see if they'll let me use their baseball diamond to fly the plane off of and then just see what happens. But for RC, I'm wanting to maybe use Facebook in this next year, and I'm trying to find out if other people have used it. Facebook's a huge thing, and I don't know if we're capitalizing on it. So I don't know. That's just kind of my thoughts, because we're trying to do something too.
That's a great idea.
It is a great idea.
Let me interrupt because Dennis is waiting, and then after Dennis is John Miller. But I think you're right, Stuart. Even like Craigslist, even advertise we're having a contest or event, or maybe even offer up or some other things. We can just put a little blurb on there. I think that's a great idea.
About teaching the kids to fly. That's what you have to. You can say contest, but they don't know what it is.
Yeah.
If you
or
say,
even
here's
like
a video, we'll teach you to fly. That's different.
I think that's a great idea.
I would like that, to try that.
Yeah, go ahead, Dennis, and then John Miller, and then let me know. Raise your hand if
Okay.
you have another comment or question. Anybody else? I see you,
And
James.
this question is
Go ahead, Dennis.
for both Paul and Mike with your recent experiences here. Are we at a point where do we really need something like the next generation Fire Baby or something like that? Something that people that's easily accessible, pass out the brochure and have this simple, you can fly this yourself kind of thing available. Would that be a step in the right direction? You know what I mean? A real simple airplane like a Fire Baby, certainly by now would be electric instead of gas, which would, I think, be a big enabler anyway. Is that the kind of thing, when they walk off the circle, they'd be ready to get their hands on something like that and try to continue? Do you sense anything like that?
Dennis, I can tell you that Ed Waskey and I, the guy who runs the event, we were looking at several sets of plans using the equivalent of Depron. Because one of the things that we're going to run into is someone who's interested who can't find an appropriate kit. And if it's an all balsa kit, it may be prohibitively expensive. So we're looking at something, a flat flyer, something very simple, absolutely electric powered. And also,
Well, that's
there
why
you
I
go.
mentioned the Fire Baby. It was balsa, but certainly today you'd make it out of crepe. You could probably make it out of styrene. You could certainly make it out of Depron or something like that. And you could
Absolutely.
also
I think
advertise
that's,
replacement parts and stuff like that,
Yep.
like the Fire Babies used to do.
Yep.
I
I
think
mean, Stewart has one. I saw those little flying circles. I've seen them fly.
It's the cheapest thing you can get. Just
maybe we can get Brodak to consider doing a special.
Exactly. Well, I understand that Brodak actually, when right at the end there, they were actually capable of printing Fire Baby wings for the last Fire Babies that were made in the I guess in the 1990s or something like that. But
yeah,
that's a great idea. The platter, that's a great idea. That's cheap. We can get material from these midterm elections, and
people don't have the money. That's the thing. Money can be a problem with a lot of people to get them started, right? And for a kid, I mean, you can't get cheaper than this piece of Coroplast.
Yeah, that's true. That's a very good point. And let me see. I think it was John Miller, and then James McKinney, and then Paul Taylor.
Okay, well, real quick, Stuart asked the question, what can you do when you're in a small area? And
Hi, Steve. Thanks for coming in.
Try to get things, a little impetus or a little movement in the hobby. I can relate an experience, but it's 25 years old, so it needs to be taken with a little grain of salt, perhaps, because things have changed. We didn't have Facebook and things like that. But we started a little RC club in Sturgeon Bay, Wisconsin, which is 60 miles north of Green Bay on the peninsula. Not a lot of people, mostly farming, very just your average small town. And at the time, I was a newsletter editor, and I made it a point to every time we had a meeting or a meet or an event, and we did have events quite often, I made sure it got in a little local newspaper. It never cost me a dime. They were happy to get it. I just wrote it up, sent it to them, and they put it in the little local newspaper. We had an RC seaplane meet that we invited the public to come and see, and we had more people there visiting with us than we had people flying. We had about, I would say, right around 40 people visiting or watching, and we had like 20 people flying. We had one young lady showed up with her parents, and she was about, I would say at the time, maybe 10 years old, little skinny gay girl. And she got hooked up into, with us. She came in, she had a desire to fly. That young lady took sailplanes and went a long way with it. She won a national championship at the Nats with a sailplane. The last time I heard of her was about 15, maybe 12 years ago. She was the opening speaker for a big confab at the AMA on aviation. She had made a career out of aviation. So it can happen, but it isn't going to happen every single time.
Absolutely. I think the two best things generally that we can do is to approach RC clubs. A lot of them have integrated control line.
Yep.
And one of the things that I learned at Triple Tree, I mean, the largest RC event in the world, was that our second year there, we had Bob Hunt and Derek Barrett fly the Tampa pattern, or whatever you want to call it, our pattern, in front of 3,000 or 4,000 people on the main line, and got a standing ovation. People had no idea what a good control line stunt plane looks like, and they were just blown away. And that year we got 610 student flights. So, you know, if we can get some guys who can fly, it doesn't have to be a Dave Fitzgerald quality. It can be someone, you know, less skilled, and go out to these RC events and ask for, you know, 5 minutes and 30 seconds. You just never know who comes out of the woodwork.
Good point. I think we have James McKinney next, and then Paul Taylor.
Yeah, I was going to say, we're talking about groups, where to find kids. The best thing that we've done in New Orleans a couple times is the Civil Air Patrol and the Boy Scouts. The Civil Air Patrol likes to do they doing rocketry right now. They're building rockets. So they got people come out. They have a big project where they build rocket. They put the rocket together. They go launch the rocket. We've had static displays where we bring all the combat planes and carrier planes, stunt planes, and the kids get to look at it and you know, mess with it. But if Civil Air Patrol is basically everywhere, there's Civil Patrol units everywhere, and they're always looking for something to do with the kids. They're always looking for a project where they have to build a rocket or build something and make it fly, learn about how it flies. We've done that in New Orleans area, and I know the Covington, where I live currently, is a big unit. It's the biggest composite squadron. They have something like 80 something kids involved. They're doing rocketry right now, but these are kids that are already interested in aviation.
Right.
And so if you can find those kids and turn them in, because their parents, generally speaking, are more active, at least it seems to me. You mentioned babysitting. Geez, that happens all the time. A lot of these parents are involved in the organization, and they go on to do the activities with the kids, and they become senior members, and they go with them and do things. So I would think if you were going to find a place where you could meet up and introduce someone young that's interested in aviation, and find a parent that's willing to go do things with them, it would be in that atmosphere, because they're already there because they like airplanes. And to the Facebook thing, you know, Facebook's weird, man. If you start at Maca's, nobody wanted to be involved with a Maca forum or a Maca website. We've had it for over a decade. Nobody ever uses it. Facebook started a Maca page. That's where all of our contests get announced. That's where all the people come in and show what they're working on and show test flights and videos and stuff. But you can't just make it wide open, because then it gets dragged off course, and you have to monitor it constantly. You have to moderate it constantly. It's just a waste of time. So what you end up doing is you end up talking to people that already know about model airplanes and are already flying model airplanes, and you're not outreaching to anybody. Facebook hasn't been a real good tool in that respect. But again, if you can get the Boy Scouts, some of the Boy Scouts, but more importantly, the Civil Air Patrol, those kids, they want to fly airplanes. They want to do anything with airplanes or rocketry or any of that stuff. You just got to have the time, which time's something I don't have right now. But if you can get time with those kids, they'll make a project out of it during their weekly meetings, and each week they'll put a little bit more together on this airplane until they finally get it done, how to fly it. And they'll have it kind of a, from beginning to end process of how it works. They set this up, build it, make it run, make it do what it does. And then they can see what, hey, look, these are some of the events, these are some of the things you can do with it. It's just that, to me, that would be a better place to start than just randomly finding kids, because you gotta have the parents involved, and they're just not, most not.
Yeah. No, that's great. Thank you, James.
I have a comment from Minnesota Mike. He says, need to have the news posted. It goes far from the news. That's what Minnesota Mike suggested. And then next is Paul Taylor. And then after Paul Taylor, I think it's Stuart. You had something, Stuart, again? All right, so go ahead, Paul.
I think Steve's had his hand up too.
Who?
Steve Hines.
Oh, Steve Hines. Just a minute, Steve. Get behind those other mentioned, okay?
So today we were having a flying session, and I'm kind of converting everything over to electric, but I do still have a couple of the engines. So we fired up a McCoy and an OS on a little flight streak, and there was a dad and his son was over on the RC side. Well, when they left, the son wanted to come over and see what all the noise was about, because just about our whole club is electric. So anyway, the noise kind of brought him over there, and I had a flight streak in the truck, and I said, "Hey, you want to try it?" And he's like, "Well, I don't know." I said, "It's a trainer," and that registered with him, and so he's like, "Sure." So I put him on my flight streak. We did a flight, and I was talking to him, and he's building foam RC planes right now, the little foamies, and he was asking his dad about maybe building a foam control line plane. So I was trying to, steer him to Brodak and stuff, but I put a post out on Stunthangar today. I'm looking for some plans. I'd kind of like to just build this kid a plane and hand it to him at our next club meeting and see if I can get him over on the circuit.
Paul, that'd be great. Each year, I did it this year too. By the time you've had 100, 130 kids come by, and a lot of them come back. This year was just me, but I made it a point to find out, I thought, who was the best one that would stay with the hobby. And there was a young man there, about 15 years old. And I just took one of the ring rats, had never been flown, and I gave it to him. Fully equipped, motor, everything, except for charger, and my phone number, and my email. And I'm going to walk him through this, but he soloed in those 2 days. Touch and go, takeoff, landing on that ring rat. And the smile on his face, I wish I had more money and time that I could build more. But it was just an instant connection. And I see this guy staying in the hobby for some length of time anyway. I've asked the district directors to always keep a trainer in the trunk of their car, because you just never know.
Yeah.
Well, I have a Stuart next, and then I have then Steve Hines, and I have a comment from Ruben McBride, and then Phil, you after that. So we're busy. Go ahead, Stuart.
Mark, this might just be an idea too. We were at our annual weekly coffee meeting. There's 4 of us that get together, and we're trying to do some changes to get new members in our RC club. And I said to him, I'm going to get you some free radio advertising. And they're going, well, how are you going to do that? It's not that difficult if you know how to go about it. If you write up an article and say, and especially if you're going to include kids, you write up an article to say, well, we're going to do this, and we're going to teach kids how to fly. Okay. And if you write this up and you go into the radio station and say, look, we want to do this for kids, and a lot of the time they'll do it for free. If you say it's an organization that's free, because how do I know this? Well, it's because I was in retail and stuff, but what happened is the guys, there are 4 guys, he said, he says, so-and-so does it for the band. So you can actually get free advertising for nothing if you,
that's great to know,
and write it up the right way. So just something anybody could do this for any of their clubs. It's just, you got to know how to go about it. I mean, it's not hard. It's basically you write it up for them, and they love it because they don't have to do the work. If you write it up for them, they're going, oh, now all I got to do is read it off, right, on a radio station. So at any
I will try that.
Have an event, go hit them up for it. So
awesome.
Good idea. Hey, thanks for your patience, you guys. Steve Hines, and then McBride. I got a comment from McBride, and then Phil Bailey. So go ahead, Steve.
It'd be nice to have like rocket clubs and stuff at school, but I don't know. Back in the day, we rode our bikes, and now nobody rides bicycles to school and stuff like that, like they used to. But it's like, how do you have a club? How do you get the kids home? Stuff like that. And you mentioned Boy Scouts, Cub Scouts. I mean, we did a lot there. I found out today that our den mother died. And that was kind of sad, because we did a lot of stuff, in Cub Scouts with Cox models and stuff like that. But it's like, how do you get the kids there and back? I mean, most of the parents work. I was lucky that my mom didn't work when I was a kid. And so she was my chauffeur, me and my brother, in the ski club and the rocket club and all that kind of stuff. But I mean, nowadays, it's pretty tough. And I don't know, besides the, Cub Scouts and Boy Scouts, how they do it. I know Samantha went to school, like for the mechanical or the airline mechanics and stuff like that. They had some places reach out to school, and the counselors were giving information to kids. And there was actually a thing for drone. They had a college for drone flyers,
Mhm.
and
Heard of
they
that
were
too.
trying to recruit people going to go to college to fly drones. I don't know if it was for the military, whatever, but
Supposedly
that was
not,
something.
but that's what it feeds into.
But I mean, yeah, it's like, James has said about his time, you don't have the time. And it's
Yeah.
like,
It's a challenge. It is.
yeah,
Definitely.
it really is sad. I mean, I was so lucky when, I was a kid, because we had all the clubs, and we could stay late and ride our bikes and stuff like that. And, and now these huge high school, where I went to school now, it's like a 7-mile bicycle ride to get to junior high or the elementary school, because they're way out on the far edge of nowhere, in these big, huge complexes, and everybody's bus. I mean, there's no local schools and junior highs and stuff like that. I mean, when I was a kid, the junior high was only 2.5 miles away. So I'm out.
Yeah, same with me.
But where I've been working, everything's locked down. You can't get into them. It's a
true.
real pain.
It can be.
But that's, I don't know really how to get like the Boy Scouts or something like that, Cub Scouts, if it get affiliated with a club.
Let me get to a comment that Ruben McBride has. He says, the hobby is missing flying sites. Years ago, we all flew in parks and schoolyards. The noise of a plane brought on people interested in planes. That's how I got started. That is a big help. And then I think we're getting close to the end of the show, so I want to make sure everybody gets a chance. Phil, you had something you want to say, and then I have another comment from Jeff Riley.
Well, I was just going to say, Mark, you're talking about the ring rat. Is that something that I thought ring rat was foam, but is it something we could build?
It's a built-up kit. It's a laser cut kit. All wood.
Laser cut kit.
Yeah.
Well, I'd build a couple of them if you want to get them just built so we can get them out to the kids or whatever. I mean, I don't know what all's involved, but if it's just a half-a kit. What I remember us flying at Triple Tree was just a little small airplane. I think that was a ring rat.
Yes,
you had
it
that
was.
little electric motor on the front of it that had a propeller that we rubber banded. It wasn't really a rubber band, I don't think. It looked more like an O-ring, but anyway, rubber banded the propeller on, so it was easy to pop it back on. I can put one of those together. That's not a big deal. One or two of them. Try to
Well, I
help. I'm sure
appreciate
other
that.
people can. But when you get ready to have another thing like that in West Virginia, North Carolina, somewhere around in this area, let me know. And I'll try to get off. I mean, I don't work. I'm retired, but I'll try to come and help. That's the kind of thing
Well, I appreciate that.
I'd love to do stuff like that.
Phil,
That'd be a
I
lot of fun.
appreciate that. Thank you, buddy.
Yeah, just let me know. Well, if I know about it, I'll be glad to try to do it.
Yep, thank you.
You're quite welcome. Guys, I got to go walk the terrace, so I'll see y'all Monday.
All right, thank you, Phil.
Okay.
I have
Yes,
a
sir.
comment from Jeff Riley. He says you should hit up a couple of Vegas YouTube sloggers and invite them to the stunt challenge. This is regarding Ruben McBride.
Oh,
And he says,
yeah.
all those guys are looking for something new to post to. And he said, vloggers are not sloggers. And then Minnesota Mike says, Stephen, we can't fly in parks or schoolyards in Fresno, Clovis area. I understand that too, Minnesota Mike. Now, Mark, I don't know, was you trying to say something earlier, Mark Gerber? Do you have a question or comment?
No.
Okay. I was just trying to read your body language. I thought you were trying to get in a word. But thanks for your patience, everybody. It's like spinning plates, but I appreciate everyone's interest.
Yeah.
Yes, John.
Thank
Go
you,
ahead,
Carl.
John.
The comment about flying in the parks and the schoolyards, that's where we used to fly when I was a kid. And this is in California, and I'll tell you that the ban on flying model airplanes in schoolyards is pretty much countrywide. There's almost always a sign that says no model airplanes, no golfing, all of these things. And I can tell you from personal knowledge that is when it became harder and harder to keep a club going, because it would slowly lose members, because they were, and it's been said, you would hear the noise, I'd get on my bike, go see who it was and what they were doing. So anyway, kids aren't interested like we were. World War II was just over. Airplanes were the hot thing, and today they're very common. It's like watching a bus go by for a lot of kids.
We had no problem. There was that rule at school, but we just went to the school and said, hey, can Samantha fly in the parking lot and stuff like that? And since she was a student of that school, it was no problem.
Yeah.
You just can't bring in a club and bring in people who, just come in and fly. But if you're a student there, they will let you use the grounds to fly.
Yeah,
So
but that
you
doesn't
can
help
have a school club.
Well, now, a school club, yeah, that makes sense. There's a school club, because that's what you're trying to do is get a group of people, get them going in the hobby. Whether they wind up flying carrier or combat or stunt or RC or whatever,
And even, the school I'm working at, I have been working at right now, I pay my taxes to that school, but Samantha didn't go there, but they would allow it also.
Yeah.
Because I paid school taxes there, and she was a student at Tri-County. And
I can't tell you how many times we'd be out flying, and it was before they were posted, but almost every time we're out flying, we'd have 3 or 4 flights that the cops would show up. And somebody complained about the noise. One guy ran a plaster machine that sounds just like a model airplane engine. I've seen them. And he just couldn't stand that sound on the weekend. And there was a lot of resentment because of the sound, the noise. And I mean, we showed up once, we were flying hand launched gliders. We left the powered airplanes in the trunk. We're out there throwing these gliders, and here come the cops telling us that they got noise complaints, and we need to leave. And I took my glider and I just threw that sucker up into the air, and he's watching it fly, and he said, well, that thing don't make any noise. It just doesn't have an engine on it. It's a glider. He said, well,
that's what I mean. Somebody'd have to have really good ears to hear Samantha's airplane flying in the schoolyard.
I'll bet she's got a electric,
Right. And I mean, if you can hear that, then you really get some good ears.
But it was the noise that brought on the problems for us. I remember trying to put a McCoy 35, put a muffler on it. First mufflers I ever saw were terrible things. Didn't work. Just stopped the breathing on the engines. You lost about 1/3 or more of your power with a muffler. And yeah, they were quieter, but the one I'm thinking of was a round tube, had a cap on the one end, cap on the other with a little exhaust tank, and a hole slide so you could slide the venturi, not the venturi, the exhaust stack of the engine, and a spring that went around and held it together. That was all filled with steel wool in there. And you put that on and it made it real quiet. Couldn't stunt with it, couldn't do much anything with it. So people wouldn't use them. That's why we lost that's one of the reasons we lost the schoolyards and the parks. The others, they were worried about people getting hit with the airplane. And I can tell you, I've been in places, we had permission at one high school to use, they have a car training, well, I forget what they call it, but it's for training students to drive cars. It's a big asphalt area that's got lanes and drives and stops and the kids, but on weekends, they weren't using it. So we had permission to use it. And literally we'd go out, put cones up, and I've seen people, we'd be flying out there, people drive right up to us while we're flying.
Yeah.
And want to know what we're doing there or how they can, where they can go or whatever. And I said, you need to get over there on the other side of those cones or you could get hit. Well, I mean, that's the perception that the public has with us, is that we're dangerous.
Yeah. I have a few more comments from the Minnesota Mike. He says, it's one more comment. He says, this is Minnesota Mike. He says, you can be the principal in this area and no flying at school. So yeah, it's pretty tough.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Well, go ahead.
We have like 4 minutes until I'm gonna pull the live stream and go to the after party. But I want to just say we've had a pretty good show. We've had as many as 25 people watching us live. Appreciate that. And we have 24 likes. So that's pretty good. And anybody else have anything else before we end the live stream and go to the after party?
Yeah, I got to tell you what I did today to speed up my building.
What'd you do?
Hired somebody?
Hired somebody. That'd be the fastest way. With my hands where they are, I have problems with small things and picking things up and all that. But anyway, but one of my problems is I'll get up in the morning, I'll sit down and watch the news real quick. And then that spreads into a program and then another program. And by about 1:30, 2 o'clock, I'm saying, gee, I was going to work on the airplane. And I'll go in there and as I go by the TV, oh, there's that other program I like.
Yeah, yeah.
So today I spent the day, I had a 32-inch flat screen TV that I'd bought. And so I went and hooked it up and then got it hooked up, ran the cabling over that. Now I got the TV in the shop. So maybe that should help we build faster.
Yeah, maybe if you can watch YouTube and watch Sparky's Sand, that might maybe inspire you to build too. Stuart, you walked away. You have something you want to show us or what?
I'll give you a sec.
Okay, I'll give you a sec.
Got something to show you. I don't know. Just about because you guys were talking about that building board. Have any of you guys ever used a magnetic building board?
I've heard about them.
Yeah, same here. I've heard about them. Never used one.
Basically, you lay. You can't see it now, but this is galvanized metal.
Yeah.
Okay. So what you do is you lay your plan on that and get it all flat. And then all these pieces here are what you hold your balsa in place.
Okay.
Wow.
So, I built an RC plane when I was about 27. And I haven't built anything since until I started doing an RC plane, and I used this, and to me, it's different. It's great. I really enjoyed it. So you've got all kinds of different areas or pieces to hold the balsa down.
Right.
Like I use these type of ones for holding the trailing edge down when I was building it.
Right.
And you can hold the ribs up 90 degrees with these. And
Yep.
see, this is galvanized too, so they stick. There's magnets. and I found it incredibly easy and easy to use. So I just thought I'd run this by you.
Where do you get your pieces?
Okay, these pieces are 3D printed, and there's a site I got online, and it's free. So you can download all these pieces so you can actually print them in 3D plastic. So if you got somebody that can print these, you can get the like all these pieces, the programming online for free.
Wow.
So and so these ones are for height. You can bring it down on top of if you're building the fuselage, for example, and hold it down. And you can actually build bigger ones. Some people build these out of wood, so you can do the sides.
Right.
So, and these I used, this was great for what did I use this on? I think on the leading edge. I held the trailing edge down, and then I put this at the front so I could get it all level. And then once you do all your ribs and get them all in place with this and held in place, then you can just glue the whole thing.
Yep.
Yeah, I really like that. I like those clamps in the back. Those look pretty interesting. Those like C clamps.
There's all kinds of different ones. These ones go up and down. If you can see what I'm doing here.
Yeah, very nice.
You get down to hold things. There's actually more than this. This guy's got a phenomenal and when I used this, I went, this is easy. Like it worked really, really well. I just thought I'd run this by as another option.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I just wanted
Very cool.
If you want to put his contact information on the forum or maybe even here, that'd be great. Someone can.
I'd have to try and look it up because I got it from some guy, and I don't know. I have to see if I can find it again.
No problem. That'd be great.
Yeah. Well, if you find it, post it on Stunthangar. We actually probably should have a talk to Sparky about having a forum for this kind of stuff. You know.
Yeah. It's a good idea. Yeah, great idea.
So,
well, gentlemen, it is a little bit after 9 o'clock, and I want to end the show only because I think someone would see this show and it's like over 2 hours long. They might not even want to even start it. That's one reason why I cut it off at around 9 o'clock. That'd be like 2.25 hours of time. But I want to thank everybody for coming in. I appreciate it. We had some great conversation, great questions, and even on the chat box, thank you for your participation there as well. Anyways, we're up to 25 likes. Thank you very much. If you're watching this as a replay, please hit the like button. Consider subscribing to the Stunthangar YouTube channel. Don't forget to also look at maybe joining and helping us with a monthly donation or $4.99 a month. That would be very helpful. And with that being said, thank you very much. We're going to end the live stream, and then we're going to go into what I call the after party. And sometimes the after party is better than the live stream. So with that being said, good night, everyone. We'll be back.
Thanks, Charles.
We'll be back. You're welcome. We'll be back Friday. So see you then at Friday. See you. Bye-bye.